We have this amazing speaker coming up. Her name is Kadri Haljas. She is from Triumf Health, and Kadri believes that technology can improve our mental health in a scalable way. She once gave a talk at a conference while Elon Musk took the main stage at the same time, and yet she did not present in an empty room, just like right now. So you're here, so thank you for that. And Kadri is going to talk about the most profitable investment you'll ever make. So please, Kadri, let's give it up for Kadri Haljas.
Hello, everyone. I'm super excited to be here to talk about a topic the only topic that I know in reality, that is mental health. So we are talking about investing in yourself and what it actually means, and if you're actually doing it, and how it might help us, the company, getting funding, and so on. So let's talk about it. First of all, I am the founder and CEO of Triumf Health. I've been in the field of mental health now for 15 years, did academic work, did clinical work, and now for the past 6 years I have been doing innovation. It's chaos. And what I've learned over the years is that I know very little of mental health because it's very personalized. Everyone has a different journey. So that's why we need to keep this understanding, really, that there are no quick fixes. There is no pill that fits all, that we will magically be healed. But how to survive in this chaos when there are no pills, when there are no, well, there are some pills you heard before as well. But how to keep yourself healthy in an environment that is super hectic, where everything is moving forward so quickly, it is so difficult to keep the pace. So how do we get to know ourselves in this process when we are here in the field of startup life? When we have so many problems that we need to fix all the time, come up with solutions, solve problems with the company, or are we able to solve the problems with ourselves as well? But if you didn't see the sign, then see the sign once again, and welcome to chaos. And people are wired differently. And life tends to work in a way that everything follows this normal curve, right? Innovators are really a very, very small percentage of the humankind. There are majority belong to people, or majority have more traditional mindset, let's just say that way. So if you're comfortable in this chaos, or you think that this is for you, then welcome, you belong to the extreme. And not only from that perspective that there are few innovators, even though in Estonia we are the digital nation and startup nation, so we statistically have more. But people are wired differently in the startup field. And we have, I think, and I hope the majority of you are familiar with those extreme personality traits that startup founders might have. But we are past this understanding that you need to be a butthole in order to be a startup founder, that it doesn't lead too far because we are working with humans, with people, and empathy is still a skill that is important. Even when considering your own personality, maybe you're not catching it intuitively how others are feeling. But statistically speaking, a lot of founders, a lot of startup people, you don't have to be a founder to be engaged in startup life, have extreme personality traits from those being psychopath is something that the butthole is defined by. But it's not the necessity. So there are all kinds of different personality traits that startup founders and startup people have. But Forbes is saying, I didn't put it on slides because I don't know if this is something to really quote me on, but Forbes is stating that 77% of startup people who are involved in startups, that they have mental health issues. So 77%. So why aren't we talking about it? Why are we still flexing? Why are we all the time saying that we are doing so magically well? We are reaching higher and higher goals, and not talking about how we're actually feeling, which, in startup life, it's not only about the personality traits and the mental health issues that are super prevalent, but here's my business mentor, Michael Scott from the office. It's a great quote because it really shows that you don't have a path actually to follow in startup life, right? You have to create a path for yourself. And the reality is that you might think that you know exactly what to do, but in reality, and in a much more real sense, I, as a person, have no idea what to do. So, and this is something that is actually deep-rooted in startup founders and people who are involved in startups, because at one time, you're everything, and then you're nobody. You are considering the phase that you are in with startup. You might think that you are very capable of doing everything. You're on top of the world, riding the wave. There is this one quote from mindfulness that is one of the most popular ones, is that we cannot stop the waves, but we can learn how to surf, right? But what the waves in startup life are getting bigger and bigger. You're on top of the wave all the time and figuring out stuff as you go. And for identity development, it is very important for us humans, our human beings, individuals, to understand who we are. And it's very difficult to understand yourself if you are involved in a startup, because everything is changing so rapidly, and every day you might experience extreme emotions, extreme problems, and extreme obstacles as well. So let's just be honest towards ourselves. If we're not honest towards ourselves, then what happens quite often, and I'm to be blamed of that as well, from time to time, is self-neglect. And this is really common among startup-minded people. Because you can, here we are in the university gym or whatever is the academic sports hall, and on the wall you can see that don't stop when you're tired, stop when you're done. And this is like in sports, in startup, it's the same way, right? That you, even when you're you have depleted your resources, you still need to keep going, because then maybe someone else will do a better job than you and you have lost the game. And the easiest thing what we tend to do is neglect ourselves in the process. And that doesn't mean that we don't do anything for ourselves, but we are ignoring some of the signs. It's very common, for example, among startup founders and people involved in startups to just say that, yeah, well, nobody's sleeping well. Like sleep problems, these are fine. There's a lot of stress and so on. But everything leads to bigger problems when we are not addressing those problems. And we are unfortunately still normalizing this overworking. We are normalizing this burnout, for example. Burnout, it's quite a popular word these days, but it doesn't stop with that. There are all kinds of different mental health struggles that people are having when they are burning out, and these are the topics that need to be addressed. Because even if we want to change the world, and I think that we're all here trying to change the world from our perspective, then we cannot do this without being healthy ourselves and without having really our focus on our mental health as well, because we can allow ourselves to be weak, to get stronger, but this is not something that we are focusing on, and instead We might feel lonely, we might feel anxious, we might feel a lot of fear, but we have very little time in order to address those things because everything else is moving forward so quickly. But if you are addressing the problems of your company, then we should also address the problems with ourselves. And we are seeing this, these stories more now that in startup life, we are not only talking about success, we are talking about company failures as well to actually understand the whole cycle of it. But we are not yet talking about all the personal things that happen in this process. Yesterday was a very good talk on resilience. I don't know if anyone was there. But when you are seeing on Instagram how wonderful everything is, you want to be successful yourself, you might be very successful, but what is happening internally and the struggles that you're having, this is not something that we are disclosing. Because we need to be flexing, right? We need to be showing that we are capable of doing anything while actually being in a very difficult situation ourselves. So fortunately, I have a cure here, right? But this is one of the, I saw it on Instagram, I couldn't, but I didn't save the author, so I'm very sorry. But this is a quite good quote, right? And I don't have this confidence to tell you that there is cure. Actually, there isn't a cure because it's an actual journey with mental health. There isn't a quick fix. We're all coming in startup field, whether we're VCs, whether we're startups, whether we are trying to, or whether we want to be involved in a startup, then we are really fixated on changing the world and making it better quickly, right? And when we are in such a pace, we want our mental health and the health, diet pills, 50 seconds abs training, whatever kind of training programs, everything that is just super mega cure always. Then in mental health, it doesn't happen that way. You actually need to engage in taking care of your mental health. So what is the actual steps, what we can all take, is that while we are very good as humans in lying to ourselves, that is the reality, and to others as well, ignoring the signs and not really discussing how we're actually feeling, then 77%, if this is correct, but let's say it's correct, I'd say that it's higher. That's why I'm not putting this number. 77% of startup founders and people involved in startups are having mental health issues. We are now talking about it a little bit. We haven't so far, but now we're talking about it just a little. We need to talk about it a lot more. And we need to break the shame also from actually making sure that it is okay, that we don't need to lie, for example, to our employer that, I don't know, we have a fever or whatever other issue that we are having, that we are trying to mask, that we're not mentally doing well, that we're anxious, so we cannot get out of the bed because of depression, for example. We need to talk about it. Nothing will change if we are not changing our mindset altogether, and we need to talk about it. And like I said, there is no cure, but step 2 that we should all take is that we consciously think about our mental health and we consciously take a step in order to improve it. And then how we are improving it is up to you, up to everyone individually. There is not one solution that fits all, and if there is a solution that is for everyone, it doesn't usually do any good. So you need to be able to find a path for you that is the most suitable for yourself. And while I don't, probably there are some life coaches also in the audience, and this is a wonderful area of expertise to be in, but everyone's tool sets are limited. So sometimes when you're burnt out already, then optimizing your day to a minute has little impact on your well-being. When you are depressed, then clinical psychologists, for example, have a different type of tool set. to life coaches. But this is also limited. Psychiatrists and medication, everything is limited. Everything has pros and cons, and everything is dependent on the needs of your mental health, actually. So try to take the journey. There is a lot of technology coming to rescue for adults as well and for children, which we are working on. But there are steps to take to you to familiarize yourself what might happen or what might work for you. My partner, for example, he thinks that physical training is improving mental health. So I'm not judging. It can be that. It doesn't have to be a life coach, a clinical psychologist, psychiatrist. Just do find a way what is actually helping you and invest in it, stick to it. And we forget sometimes that when we are trying to come up with very creative things in our startup lifestyle, and we are facing a lot of obstacles, and somehow we think that we have something distinct and something very unique to us, that we have been able to build this new path. But there are others in different fields and a strong ecosystem. And when we're actually able to talk about our issues, then we understand that we are not alone. And this is a step that everyone can actually take that is helpful for the whole community, is that we discuss how we are doing, the struggles as well. And that allows others to feel less lonely also. Because it's not happening such that everything is rainbows and butterflies in our minds also. There is a lot of struggle as well related to success, related to failure, and it is a matter of raising more awareness to it. And then we can move forward or further from this situation where we are all thinking that we should put on our happy faces and go to work and be as productive as possible while really struggling internally. Fortunately, Estonian startups and some startups in the world are making a real change in company culture from that side, that there are a lot of mental health services available. But there are two problems with that still, and this is what we can fix together. One is stickiness. That even though there are services available, then it's such a taboo topic still that people are not engaging in those topics and in those services. And the other problem is an unfortunate statistic, but even those who do engage initially, then 50% drop out. So mental health is something that is a journey. There are no quick fixes. And if you start taking care of yourself, which I do hope that every single one of you here does something in order to improve their mental health and seek for other options that are out there to have or to live a more fulfilling life, because it's all about the quality of our lives, not the quality of the companies and quality of success, but it's the quality how we're actually feeling. So take care of yourself, and please, please, please stick to it. Don't do it once or twice. Create a habit of taking care of yourself, and then you can take over the world. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kadri, for this insight. I have actually, one personal question, if I may ask. What has been the biggest mental issue or mental health issue for you?
I get this question actually quite often, and also like, why am I doing it? Because I'm this kind of a weird startup that I'm not trying to establish new companies all the time. I have been sticking for the past 6 years and probably for the next 60 to the mental health topic and to supporting children's mental health. Mm-hmm. But and this is a positive stress for me. I don't know why I am so comfortable in this chaos. I have tried to reflect in all kinds of different ways. But when I was doing academic work, then I burned out. I got depressed. I was not able to cope at all with the situation, because I felt like whatever I do, it doesn't create any there is no value in what I'm doing, and then I'm like constantly 24/7 working on my academic work, but then again, it's my parents who are reading the research articles, and that's pretty much the whole impact of it. So burnout is familiar to me, and also what it actually means to be depressed.
Yeah, really awesome. Thank you so much, Kadri. Let's give it up one more time to Kadri Haljas.